Well, hello there folks, welcome to today's video, which is all about public speaking effort. Public speaking effort, as in F-U-C-K-I-T, right? Now, that may be a bit of a strange title for a video, right? But essentially what I want to share in this video is that when you first start out training and presenting, workshop facilitating, and even public speaking, one of the things that you will have to do is eventually say effort. You'll eventually have to say, well, F-U-C-K-I-T. Now, what I mean by this is ultimately, I did my very first public speaking course as an attendee way back in 2009. And it was a 6-day course. It went from Monday all the way till, what was it, probably the Sunday, if not the Monday, right? And essentially it was down in Sydney. It's a true story. It was down in Sydney, and there was about 200 people in the room, if not maybe even more, including crew and the mentors and all that kind of stuff, right? And it was 6 days straight of just overwhelming the nervous system with all this knowledge about public speaking, right? So we would learn something in the little auditorium, right? And we'd learn something from the presenter on stage. Then we would go out into little pods of 5 people and we would deliver our little presentation using the technique that we just learned, right? Which is an amazing way to learn, highly recommend it, and it really is powerful. But typically what happens is a lot of people actually don't make it all the way through the 6 days, right? Which is quite interesting. But the thing was that I had made a decision, I'd made a commitment, I was going to make it through no matter what, right? And on the last day, it culminates with you delivering a 30-minute presentation with no notes, right? So it's kind of a big deal, but it was kind of like Navy SEALs BUD/S training, right? But at the end of the thing, at the end of the entire, what we need to appreciate is that the entire way that they delivered the course was overloading the nervous system, overloading. And the thing is with that, 2 things happen. 1, people hate it and want to run away from it. Or second, something happens around day 2.5 where eventually you just say, fuck it. I don't care anymore, and you just show up and you just let go and surrender to the process. You surrender to the process, right? And your capacity to actually surrender will determine how far you go and how much you grow, right? And there was some beliefs that were shared on day 2 about there's no such thing as a perfect presentation. Every presentation is practice for the next. The more I present, the more confident I get. And all of these beliefs, right? And those beliefs really helped me get all the way through to day 6, right? But one of the other things that really helped me out was doing improv, right? And just improv is a great way to actually detach from getting it perfect, getting it right, and saying the right thing at the right time, right? Because you start to become more flexible with your thoughts. You start to roll with what is thrown at you. And you find it's a really great way to just let go and surrender to the moment, right? And I noticed that this is a big stumbling block for a lot of trainers, presenters, and facilitators and public speakers because they struggle to just let go. And I was running a course recently and I was teaching a segment and people were trying to make it way more complicated than it actually was, right? And I'm like, no, step back. No, step back. It's just this. And they're like, no, it needs to be this. I'm like, no, step back. It's just this. And they really struggle because they wanted to make it more complicated than it actually is, right? And what you'll find with a lot of the videos I do on Instagram, YouTube, all the places I do, is that a lot of the stuff I share, it's simple. It really is simple. And it's starting to encourage you, the listener, the watcher, to start to think, how can I make my content even more simple, even more impactful? But often the ways that we do that go counter to the human brain, right? The human brain wants to make our slides all fancy. Our human brain wants to put on as much information on that slide as we can. Our human brain wants to, say something once and expect our audience to remember it. Our human brain does all these funky things when really, to be a great public speaker, workshop facilitator, it's your ability to simplify it. It's your ability to actually have a framework to what you say. It's your ability to say less and have a bigger impact, right? And these kind of things, they go counter to how the brain actually works, right? So in this video, I would just want to encourage you to eventually get to a point where you say, fuck it. Fuck public speaking and fuck what people think about you or me or whatever it is, and just surrender to the process, right? Surrender and just be present for your audience, right? Now, this concept is a little bit out there, and this concept could be heard in many, many different ways, but eventually I want to encourage you, surrender to the idea that there is perfection out there, because there isn't. All there is the frameworks and the 14 pillars that I talk about in my book and all that good stuff, right? But eventually you've just got to let go, try, see what happens. Let go, try, see what happens. And just keep working, knowing there's no such thing as a perfect presentation. Only the best one is when you show up, you speak from the heart, the words that you share land on the heart and create transformation, right? With all the structures in place, of course. But eventually you have to get to a place where you say, F it, I'm just going to let go. Try using some of these things that Mark talks about. Simplify it and avoid complexity, and you'll be in a really, really good place, right? The presenter or speaker that leaves the message in your mind for the longest period of time is the one that wins. The one that's just heard and forgotten, well, they're heard and forgotten. On that note, folks, hope you got some value from the video. If you did, like, comment, share. Public speaking, eventually you get to a point where you just say, F it, I'm just going to surrender, let go, see what happens. Let go, see what happens. Let go, see what happens. Get the learnings along the way. Enjoy your amazing week as you go out there sharing your message, team. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.